What's going on, boy? Get in front of the camera. Hello, mates and lasses. This is 155mm bringing you another video. Hey, go lay down. You want to won't be on camera. Okay. There you go. Okay. Hey guys, what's going on? I put out about a 45-minute video the other day with a bunch of facts on it about basically showing all the facts that Saddam Hussein was using these weapons, biological and chemical weapons, against the Gulf War veterans. It was too long, guys. I'm going to cut it down a little bit. I wanted you guys to go check it out. In 1988, Saddam Hussein bombed the Kurdish province in northern Iraq called Halabja. It's spelled Halabja. Here's more proof that Saddam Hussein was using these weapons on us Gulf War vets. It was a 5-hour bombing, and it was in Halabja, and Saddam Hussein was using the bombs that were filled with weapons, and also he was using jets that sprayed. He's had these jets, like the sprayers. If you guys remember the Vietnam War, when they were spraying the what's it called, Agent Orange. Okay, those are the same type of sprayers that Saddam Hussein had, sprayers like that. And he had them back in 1988, and he was using them in the Iran-Iraq War. And you guys got to remember, Saddam Hussein came fresh off the Iran-Iraq War. He was no stranger to warfare. He had already been using these weapons, so he knew how to use these weapons. He knew how to use high-level biological and chemical warfare as well as low-level biological and chemical warfare. Now, high-level biological and chemical warfare is when you drop a bomb right in the center of the target that you're trying to hit, and basically douses the people, gets on them. High level, and it usually kills them. A lot of people, when they think of weapons of mass destruction, they think of high level biological and chemical warfare. They think, oh my God, these weapons, sarin, mustard gas, etc., other anthrax, other different biological agents, blood agents. They think, oh my God, people are going to just drop and die, fall. That's not always the case. Low-level biological and chemical warfare, sometimes a person who knows how to put it on someone, like such as Saddam Hussein, who was fresh out of the Iran-Iraq War, he has experimented with this stuff for a long time, man. A person who knows how to put low-level biological and chemical warfare on someone can put it on them, and they know exactly where to drop it, and they know how to put it on them to where it's going to have very little signs and symptoms at first. Okay, now an example of how to use low-level biological and chemical warfare will be, this is another method that Saddam Hussein had at his disposal. He was filling 155mm artillery shells with biological and chemical warfare. A lot of those artillery shells he had unmarked, so just in case if the U.S. coalition forces came in and they took over one of the howitzers or whatever, it's going to look like a shell HE or maybe a shell smoke, whatever. But inside some of these artillery shells, he basically took the insides out, keep them from exploding, and he put biological and chemical warfare agent in them. Now, proof of this is if you go look at the Rigel report. Senator Donald J. Rigel. Senator Donald J. Rigel. If you go to look at that report, you will see in that report there's he mentions in there Saddam Hussein attacks a village, a Shiite Kurd or a Shiite rebel village in northern Providence, and he uses artillery shells to disperse the chemical warfare on them. He uses high level and low level biological and chemical warfare. Now, it talks about this. When he attacked the village, he used these artillery shells that hit with a thud instead of an explosion. Excuse me. they hit with a thud instead of an explosion. So when these artillery shells hit like that, they hit with a thud, and there was a cloud of chemicals that came out of them. And like I said, he used the wind. Whichever way the wind's blowing, he would aim with these chemicals and hit the ground and make a thud, and the chemicals would come out, and then, like I said, they would go upon. They basically went on the victims. Well, that's one of the things I'm talking about. The guy, see, that's a covert way to get chemicals on a victim, is to not directly impact them. He even had in his arsenal, he was using artillery shells, like I said, that hit with a thud, and it talks about it in the Rigel report. These are facts that I'm giving you guys. So if you're upwind and the wind's blowing in your direction, this guy shoots an artillery shell and hits upwind from you. It's not even good. You're not even going to hear this artillery shell hit, and this gas will release from this artillery shell and come onto your position. And proof of this, what I'm saying right here, is like I said, the Halabja, go check it out, Halabja, Kurdish attack. It was a poisoning. Saddam used bombs. He used high-level and low-level biological warfare when he bombed these guys. He bombed them for 5 hours. You can see it here on the internet. All you got to do is Google on it. A lot of times you'll see with this poisoning, what you'll see is they show the worst. They show babies. They show women and children. They show little cats and stuff like that laying dead in Halabja on the ground. But what they don't really show you, and which is a good point, what I want you guys to check out is numbers up to 5,000 of this during this attack died. Okay, it was numbers up to 5,000. They don't, like I said, the total number is not unknown, because, like I said, some of the bodies were missing. Saddam buried them and etc., or threw them in the river, Tigris River. But there's up to 10,000. Okay, and this is what I want you to focus on, that were still alive. Okay, up to 10,000, maybe a little more. And you can read about it here on the internet. All of these individuals, not all of them, some of them, like I said, had symptoms. Some of them didn't. Some of them were walking around perfectly when the medical research teams got there. And, they were, walking around perfect. You couldn't even tell that they had been hit, because it was low-level biological and chemical warfare. That, it wasn't directly on them, and it just blew, like I said, towards them. Okay. Now, years later, those same guys that were walking around like there was no problem, telling the medical researchers, and, they looked like they were perfectly fine. Years later, these Kurds came down with the exact same signs, the exact same diagnosis and cluster of signs and symptoms as what is in the Gulf War veterans. Okay, what is known as Gulf War syndrome. And there's some of the numbers on the web are not right. They're saying something like 1 in 7 Gulf War veterans came back with this Gulf War syndrome. That's a lie, dude. That's a lie, dudes. Those numbers are not right. They're only counting the veterans from Operation Desert Saber. They're not counting the veterans all the way up past Operation Desert Saber. Okay. Till the end of the Desert Storm campaign, until the fall of Al-Hakum. They're not counting. They're only counting Desert Saber with those numbers. So, and as like I said, I've showed you guys. In 1995, Saddam Hussein was at his highest peak capacity of biological and chemical warfare. He had over 100,000 gallons of biological and chemical warfare. So, all right, guys. I just want you to go check that out. That's more facts. If you guys go look at the chronic diagnosis and the cluster of signs and symptoms that those Kurds had, those are Kurds with Gulf War syndrome. Respectful citizens carry firearms, criminals carry weapons. Peace out.